Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Chavi Shastri and this is the third video of lecture series Data Science using Python. In today's video, we will learn about exploratory data analysis, which includes how to construct a bar graph with overlay using Python, how to construct contingency table using Python, how to construct histograms with overlay using Python, how to perform binding based on predictive values using Python. So first we will see what is a bar graph, contingency table, histogram and binding. So here we go with our presentation of exploratory data analysis. So what are overlay? Overlay refers to the technique of combining multiple graphical elements or datasets on a single plot or chart to provide a comparative or holistic view. It is commonly used in data visualization to show relationships, trends, or differences between datasets. For example, overlaying two histograms in different colors allow for an easy comparison of data distribution. Overlay are used in bar graphs, histograms, line chart, scatter plots, etc. So what is a bar graph? A bar graph is a type of chart that visually represents categorical data with rectangular bars, where each bar's height or length, if horizontal, corresponds to the value it represents. Bar graphs are often used to compare quantities across different categories. So some of the features of the bar graph includes axis. The x-axis represents the categories while the y-axis represents the values. Bars can be vertical or horizontal. Gaps. Bars are usually separated by spaces to distinguish categories. Overlay. Multiple datasets can be represented using overlapping group bars. So what is contingency table? A contingency table is a tabular representation of data that summarize the relationship between two or more categorical variables. It displays the frequency distribution of the variable in a matrix format. Contingency tables are commonly used in statistics to conduct chi-square test of independence. Key components are rows represent level of one variable, columns represent levels of another variable, cells contain frequency or count for combination of row and column categories. For example, a contingency table can show the relationship between gender, male, female, and purchasing behavior, bought, not bought. So what is a histogram? A histogram is a type of bar graph that represents the frequency distribution of numerical data. Data is divided into intervals, known as bins, and the frequency of data within each bin is depicted by the height of the bar. Unlike bar graphs, histogram represent continuous data. Some of the features of bar graph include bins, which represents ranges of data. Height indicates the frequency of data points within each bin. No gaps. Bars are adjacent to represent the continuous nature of data. So what is binding? Binding is the process of grouping continuous data into discrete intervals, bins, to simplify analysis and visualization. Binding can be equal width binding, equal frequency binding, custom binding. So what is equal width binding? All bins have the same range. In equal width binding, all bins have the same range. In equal frequency binding, each bin contains the same number of data points. In custom binding, bins are created based on a specific threshold or predictive metrics. For example, scores from 0 to 100 could be bind into categories like low, which is 0 to 50, medium, which is 51 to 75, and high, which is 76 to 100. So what are predictive value? Predictive value refers to the ability of a model, metric, or test to correctly predict outcomes. It is often used in statistics, machine learning, and medical diagnostics. So type of predictive values: positive predictive values, negative predictive values. Positive predictive values, the proportion of true positive results among all positive predictions, and the negative predictive value are the proportion of negative results Among all negative predictions, predictive value helps assess the reliability of predictions or classification. For example, in binding, predictive value may indicate the likelihood of an outcome, for example, purchase or non-purchase, based on the score bins. So that's all for this presentation. Now we will move forward to our practical implementation. So here is the code to how to construct a bar graph with overlay using Python. First, we import packages as we know. Def create overlay bar graph will create the bar graph. Here, I have written comments so that you can easily understand the whole code. So this is the code for creating bar graph with overlay. So we'll run this code and the output of this code is just like this. As we can see that this is beans and we have gaps and a bar graph. The second code is how to construct contingency table using Python. So on running this code, we will get this output as this. In category 1, A and B are there and X and Y are there. In category A, there are 2X and in category B, there are 2X. In category A, there are 2Y and in category B as well as 2. So this is the code to construct a histogram with Python. You can see this code and I'm running this code. And this is the output for this code, which is a overlaid histogram. And the last but not the least, predictive value perform binding based on predictive value. So on running this code, we will get this output. Just like this table. So this is all for today's video. Thank you all of you.